In this video, we're going to be showing you how to create a photorealistic model from your PlansXpress model. It's important that you look at parts 1 and 2 of this video series before attempting this video. The first thing to understand is that Photo Visualiser will only produce a representation of the model that you pass it from PlansXpress. For example, if you wish to do a ground floor plan, you must adapt the model to only show the ground floor. Do this by switching off the various layers using the visibility menu. For more about how to do this, see part 1 of this video series. To get started, we're going to export the entire model, including all the furniture, walls and fencing. From the Views and 3D tab, select the 3D Photo Visualiser button. After a few seconds, the image will appear in Photo Visualiser. Let's start by exploring the basic commands. If you go to the Edit command, you can see that you can set the preferences. Ignore the Textures folder for the time being. You can select the model style that you're usually going to be using. In our case, it's an architectural model. By changing the icon size from big to small, it will affect the size of these icons on the right hand side. I'm going to leave them set at small. Once you're happy, click OK. The next item to look at is the camera button. You can vary the lens size to give you a wider or narrower angle of vision. Normally we set it at 35mm. When you're trying to do internal shots, you may wish to adjust that to give you a wider angle. The aspect ratio controls the size of the screen. Normally I set this to 16:9. This gives me the widest possible paper size. Animations allows you to slowly rotate the model. This can be quite useful if you wish to make a video using third-party software. When you're ready to turn it off, click on it again and it switches off. The navigation commands enable you to explore the model. They are also available on the main toolbar, alongside the rendering and other tools. More about these later. You can also move the image around with your mouse button. For example, with the globe showing, you can use your left mouse to rotate the model, your middle mouse to move the model, and your right mouse to rotate the model. First of all, we're going to have a look at applying textures. The textures are accessed by clicking on the Materials tab at the top left and selecting the materials from the right-hand menu. Click on the paintbrush and choose the material you wish to change. For argument's sake, if you wanted to change the bricks and cladding, click on there and choose an alternative brick. For drawings prepared on older versions of PlansXpress, you will notice that all of the walls are textured simultaneously. On newer versions of PlansXpress, each wall is rendered one at a time. This gives you more flexibility. Speak to our team about upgrading if you want this facility. If I want to change the roof tile, I go into Roofs, choose a tile, and the model is updated. There are relatively few tiles available within the Artisan system. However, if you right-click on the material, go to Texture, press Edit, and this will take you into the PlansXpress list of tiles. You can choose any one of these tiles and place it on the drawing. Let's repeat the process for glazing. Choose one of the glass textures and drag it onto the windows. Once the drawing is rendered, you will start to see reflection occurring in the windows. Next, we'll have a look at some landscaping. Choose the grass, place it on the drawing. Same for fencing. I'm going to use fencing and decking. Drag it onto the drawing. Go to colours. I can move over the menu here. Drag those onto the drawing until you're happy with the overall appearance. You need to change the bricks at the front. Okay, that'll do for a start. We now need to change the lighting. Select the exterior. Choose the light effect that you want. I usually use Daylight Sunny. That will automatically bring a 3D background. As I move around, you can see the background rotates with the house. If I go into backgrounds, I can pick alternative 3D scenes. Or alternatively, you can pick a 2D background. Let's go for rural. Again, drag it on and you can see that appears. At this stage, we can rearrange the scene and press the quick preview render. Okay, I want to change the lighting a little bit now. There are several controls that I can use. The first one is the lighting position. I can set the height of the sun, and I can set the angle of rotation. Press render. That looks pretty good, so I'm going to take a snapshot of that. Rotate the model. Set a view that I'm happy with. Take a snapshot. Take as many as I like. When I'm happy with those, I can render all those to file. Select the pictures you want to render using Control Select. Go to Snapshots. Set the size of your frame, the output format you want, and the quality of the resolution that you want on your snapshots. Press Render Selected Snapshots. Then Artisan will render all those to file for you. Let's now imagine that our client wishes us to provide them with several design alternatives. Initially, I can drag my first picture onto the screen. Let's try some different finishes. Click on Materials. Go to brick cladding. Let's try it with stone. Take a snapshot of that. So I'll go for a rendered finish. Let's try a light blue. Perhaps we can go for matching coins and so on. We should really change the front wall as well, I guess. I can update that by right-clicking, update the snapshot. You can see the wall has now got the matching stone. I really ought to do the same on this one. Drag it back onto the screen. Put the stone back on there. Update the snapshot. Let's now create an internal 3D model. I'm going to do the kitchen. First, establish your shot. So that looks about right, but of course the patio doors are in the way. Let's hide those. Right click, hide geometry, repeat for the other part of the frame. The glass is still here, so I'm going to right click on that and hide that. If I now render the shot, you'll see it's quite dark inside. I want to try and brighten that up. Let's pause that. First of all, I'm going to upgrade all the paint colours. Let's paint all these walls and ceilings white. Don't forget the reveals. I need to brighten up the tiles. Go for a white tile. The more white you use, the better the reflection around the model. If I right click on the tiles, I can edit the material. I can actually change the reflection on the tiles themselves to bounce light around the room. You can see that there are numerous finishes that you can apply to any texture. Let's find a glossy reflecting surface. Let's go for glossy reflect 1. I need to brighten up the kitchen itself. Go back to the colours. Let's try it in white. Same for the appliances. Put some glass in the cupboards and on the appliances themselves. Change the colours on the furniture. Let's go for a nice light blue. Let's add a bit of contrast to that. The next thing I need to do is to change the main lighting. Go into lighting, interior, again go for daylight sunny, and there are one or two other controls we can edit. Going to edit lighting, make sure the artificial intensity is ticked, set that to the highest value you can. I usually set that to 5, set this to 2, which is the highest value. Take off the drop shadows, click OK and press render. As you can see, having made these various changes, we now have a nice light, bright image properly reflecting the real world situation. This can take a few minutes depending on your processor. The more furniture you have throughout your building, the longer each render will take. It can therefore be useful to only have the furniture in the model that you require for the render. You can do this by switching them off in PlansXpress. For example, if you put your kitchen furniture on the kitchen furniture layer, you can just switch those on to create the model. Once you're happy with the model, press the camera button. Let's now try the kitchen in a different colour. Let's try it in wood. Render the model. Assuming you're happy with this, take a snapshot. Let's now render all the snapshots to file. Click on each of the snapshots. Select snapshots at the top of the screen. Set your output format. Define your render quality. If you do it at high for all of these, the render will take longer, perhaps a couple of minutes for each snap. When you're ready, and all of these have been selected using Ctrl Select, press Render Selected Snapshots. Photo Visualiser will now render all the shots. Let's now have a look where Photo Visualiser has placed those graphics. Click on the File button. Photo Visualiser opens up your Explorer. You can see all of the pictures are laid out within it. There are 3 graphics for each image. There's an icon image, a photo image, and a real-time image. The icon graphic is used for the snapshot. The photo is the image that has been created when we use the snapshot rendering process. The real-time graphic is the image that is created when you do an on-screen render. Notice also at the bottom right-hand corner, snapshots.lwx. This contains important information about your rendering file and must always remain in place in the same file location. The image file itself sits within a subfolder within the main drawing folder. Let's have a look at that. Click on the up arrow. In this folder on the right, you can see the original PXD PlansXpress file along with the Photo Visualiser Artisan folder on the left. The Photo Visualiser Artisan folder, as we have seen, contains all of the rendered images and the snapshot.lwx file. Note that the folder itself has automatically inherited the name of the original drawing and appended the name Artisan. It is very important to note that if you rename the drawing, the connection between all the information contained in the Artisan folder and snapshots.lwx will be lost, along with all the rendering instructions contained therein. Do not, therefore, rename your drawing file once you have started to render your images. Let's return to the main Photo Visualiser program. Let's create another internal image. Let's try standing in the kitchen looking out of the window. So I spent a couple of minutes positioning myself in the corner of the kitchen. You can see that I can see outside of the window, but it has not got the correct image behind it, as changing the lighting automatically changes the background. Let's go and find that one. I also need to restore the patio doors. Right click, Geometry, Show All. I think I'm going to revert the kitchen back to the white colour. That looks better. It might even be worth hiding this unit so that we get a clearer view, which would be more realistic. Right click, geometry, hide. Repeat the process to hide all the objects. I think that gives a more realistic view. Let's hide the stools. If I want, I can play around with the lens. Until I'm happy with the picture. Okay, at this stage I think we're ready to render the model. Let's give it a try. Okay, so I think that looks pretty good. Let's take a snapshot and then render it in the usual way. Right, now that we've finished off these snapshots, let's see what we can do with them. The first thing we can do is to snap on any of them with a double click to see an image. This can be quite useful when you're with your client. The next thing you can do is first of all click on the screen to activate the buttons, and then you can drag one of the images onto the screen. This updates the screen and gives you the full model again. Of course, at that stage you can take another snapshot if you want and add it to the render. One thing that's perhaps worth showing you is what happens if I drag this image onto the screen. You'll notice that the patio door has returned. Why is that? Well, you may recall that when we created this image, we switched on the patio door and we also switched off the units in this area. If we return to this graphic, as you can see, the patio doors are there. If we go into the building, you'll see that those units have disappeared. The important thing to realise is that each of these snapshots only creates an image of the geometry that is available to the system. So if you hide images or introduce new images, they will appear in the model. The next command that I want to have a look at within the snapshots is the update command. Let's start by dragging this snapshot onto the screen. Suppose I wanted to render that. Clearly I could use the conventional function of dragging colours and textures onto the screen, but I can also use the update command. If I right click on this image, I can press the update current scene. Materials, I can obviously do all the other functions as well, and you can see that it's updated the current snapshot with the previous snapshot's textures. Let's now have a look at the printing process. You can either print out any of these shots one at a time, or you can group them. Let's print out 4 of them. It's important to note that you can only use the print command where the snapshot has been rendered using the snapshot rendering process. Right click on any of the images and press print. This will then launch your own print manager. In my case, I can select a variety of printers, but I'm going to print it to the Foxit PDF reader. I can print those 4 prints one at a time, or I can select a layout of 4 of them in one go. I'm going to select that. Press print and press save. Give the file a name. And press save. If I now go to the file manager itself, I can then double click on the PDF, and there we have it. Of course, you can access all the files in the file manager and embed those into PowerPoint or email them to your client, etc. In the next video, we'll be looking at working with textures and creating a range of different models.